Hello IGN, my name is Jose Otero. I'm joined by Marty Sleva.
Hey guys.
And we recently went hands-on with Xenoblade Chronicles X. Now, this is an anticipated RPG coming to Wii U so far in 2015. And we got to play it, so first thing we should start talking about is basically how impressive the world feels.
Yeah, the world's really cool. So, like, just in the interest of full disclosure, we played the Japanese version.
Yes.
So everything was really pretty, but everything was in Japanese, so we didn't really understand a lot of the core mechanics. But yeah, the world is huge. It's big. It's open. The sense of scale is really good.
Yes.
You can roll the camera back into your party really far out, so your characters look tiny, like almost like you're on the world map of an RPG. Or you can roll the camera in. Like I saw you playing it. The camera was so close, it almost looked like you were playing like Resident Evil 4. It was like right up in your business.
Yeah, no, exactly. And this is something that was in the original Xenoblade Chronicles, if you played that game on Wii. But what is better about this version is obviously, like, it shows the ability of the platform. Like, Wii U doesn't get enough credit, I feel, for just what you can do, like with these HD graphics and the scale of this thing.
Yeah.
Like the minute you zoom out or in, you can't help but be impressed by just everything that you're seeing, but also by the enemies and the monsters that are sort of running around.
Yeah, and the monsters, the sense of scale on the monsters is insane. And it's really cool because you know, not everything in the world just doesn't want to kill you. Like the enemies have like little icons over their head. So some of them are passive, some of them are just going about their business. And yeah, if you engage in combat, they'll get aggressive. And there's like this, we came upon this like lagoon, and there's this brontosaurus sort of thing that's just massive. I mean, like stupidly big. And you can fight it. It's probably not a smart thing to do because it's like level 100. But it's sense of scope, and I like the idea of everything you can see, you can go to. Like there is a giant crescent rock miles away. Yeah, you can go there. You can climb on top of it and see what's going on there.
Yeah, just the fact that you can see that far out. I will say too that in terms of, so we learned that the 5 continents are open from the start, which is, you know, really impressive because, you know, you're so used to sort of RPGs and open world games sort of opening up slowly, and it seems like they take you to that point fairly quickly. I mean, we don't know how long because we didn't play that portion, but I will say that exploring those areas, it doesn't just mean you're going to roam around these 5 continents like it's no big deal. There are enemies that are absolutely out-leveling you, absolutely much bigger than you. You're going to need the big mechs, which are called Skells, apparently, to sort of get around into some areas too, because some places are just unreachable. But just that sense of exploration is really cool. Now, that said, I will point out that like there are a lot of enemies and there are a lot of monsters sort of moving around, and there are a lot of points of interest. Either it's quests or sort of these life preservers,
and beacons. You find, like little
and cameras you can shoot out of your character just to survey and explore that stuff. The one thing that I did feel was missing was that there isn't a lot of interaction between those elements. Like the economy, the enemies that are running around don't really jump and attack each other. Which is something that I couldn't help but notice.
Yeah, like I saw a bunch of different species of things all near each other, and it kind of felt like in the actual, like if you went to the savannah in Africa, one of these things would be eating another one's neck. And it's sort of, I think I described to you where it feels like a really cool museum, but it still feels like the sort of interaction with the different pieces aren't quite there. Like you can interact with it, but they're not quite interacting with each other. Yeah, like I was a little bummed out by that, but I still, like the sense of wandering through the world was cool enough. And then finally, we engaged in combat.
Yes.
So how did you feel? You've played a lot of the original Xenoblade Chronicles.
I have, and in Xenoblade, so Xenoblade Chronicles does have a slightly more unique aspect to combat. I mean, the combat that we saw, first of all, hands down, is really cool. One of the things that if you played the original Xenoblade, you know, is that the story involved the Monado, and the Monado was sort of a sword that you can use to see the future, and that had a gameplay context in terms of you can see a larger attack coming and then prepare to try to save the character from that attack. So far, Xenoblade Chronicles combat is just as good, but it is missing that one thing. It feels like the core aspect of, you know, the higher level gameplay thing that makes it into the game itself doesn't involve combat, but it's rather exploration, or at least they haven't shown us something that does do that. But that said, combat is very fast-paced, it's action-driven, you are trying to combo with your AI teammates, like they're performing certain attacks, you're trying to follow up with the right attack. We were playing in Japanese, so it was a bit difficult to find the right follow-up, but it was still equally satisfying to attack enemies and fight them.
And they do your party, again, in Japanese, but I'm imagining this will translate well into English. Your party does a really good job of sort of barking out what they, like suggestions, like, hey, let's attack this enemy from the side, or hey, we could use a buff right now. And sort of the icons at the bottom of the screen will flash for a moment. And if you use that attack in that position at that time, or that ability or that spell, then you sort of get a bonus on
Yeah,
it. And there's also these moments where you get these like quick sort of QTE prompt that like if you hit B in the second, then you're able to do something cool. So the combat reminded me a lot of Final Fantasy XII's Gambit system, which I love. That's one of my favorite battle systems in an RPG. So yeah, I mean, I liked what I played in about 45 minutes, and I'm really excited to play more.
Yeah, Xenoblade and Xenoblade Chronicles, and so far Xenoblade Chronicles X, both build on a lot of the ideas that we saw in sort of Final Fantasy XII, sort of that single-player-ish MMO feel, like large scope, large scale, really cool battles. The Skells, on the other hand, the robots, which we didn't get to play, but Nintendo is showing them, did show them during the presentation today. They bring a unique aspect to combat because, first of all, they run on fuel. You lose fuel in fights, or you lose fuel while you're like flying around and exploring certain areas. But then also, the way they work in a battle context is really cool, where they're not limited by sort of class-specific Skell items, but rather what you equip is what you ultimately can use in the field. There was this one really cool moment where, just like when your teammates are sort of barking out orders and telling you what to sort of attack with, you can grab an enemy and hold them still so that the whole team just goes at it.
I love that.
And they don't fly around in Skells, or at least the footage Nintendo showed didn't have them in Skells per se, but that was still a cool aspect of combat. And this all feels like it's real time, even though it is sort of action points and cooldowns to a degree. Not maybe action points, but definitely something that feels that methodical.
Yeah, I'm super excited to play more.
Yep, so there you have it, folks. A quick discussion on Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is coming to Wii U in 2015. Now, we will have the game here at IGN next week because it's out in Japan, so look forward to more coverage. And for everything Nintendo, make sure you keep it right here at IGN.